Yes, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk drama, shall we? Let's talk about the drama. Yeah, I mean, with the week left until the first semi-final of Eurovision begins, which will be a week and 2 hours, the magazine Independent dropped an article that said former Eurovision contestant called for Israel and broadcaster Khan to be banned from the contest. Exclusive, over 70 former contestants have signed an open letter demanding the country and its broadcast to be excluded. Okay, I mean, alright, okay, let's read the article. Close that thing down. So here we go. Let's see what we have from this article. Anyway, 72 former Eurovision contestant has signed an open letter calling for Israel and its national broadcaster Khan to be banned from this year's contest. Well, they are not. They are still here. The letter, seen by the Independent, is addressed to the European Broadcast Union, which organizes Eurovision, and blames the uproar that surrounded last year's event in Sweden for leading the most politicized, chaotic, unpleasant in the competition's history. Okay. Wait. So they are calling last year the most politicized and chaotic and unpleasant in the competition's history. Okay. So people in this letter are also accuses Khan of being complicit in Israel's, apparently, according to them, genocide against the Palestinians in Gaza and the decades-long regime of apartheid and military occupation against the entire Palestinian people. Okay, but you know that Israel did not have control of Gaza since, what is it, like 2005? And then it's Hamas who has been doing this, and October 7th happened because of Hamas. But no. Anyway, Israel vehemently, I don't know how you say that word, denies that it is committing genocide. Court proceedings at the United Nations highest court in the International Court of Justice are ongoing. Okay. In 2023, Khan reporter Agian, who was filmed joking with Israeli soldiers while appearing writing a message for Gaza on the side of a tank shield. I mean, people are morons. I cannot say that was the wise choice, but I'm gonna say people are morons. Sure. I mean, what can I say? People are morons. People are doing stupid stuff. So. Khan received heavy criticism last year for his delegation alleged treatment of contestant. Irish contestant Ben Thug accuses the network of inciting violence against me three times. Yeah, the same person who was actually sitting and crying that Israel qualified from the competition. Girl, please, have several seats. You just want a moment. But okay, the singer withdrew from the dress rehearsal over the controversy, prompting to the EBU to confirm it had spoken with Khan about its coverage. Yeah, it is a little bit weird to read this, because when you saw how people were treating Inogolan last year, Bambi Thug, Joyce Klein, and Mariana Sati from Greece, everyone was mistreating her and be like, Jan, I'm crying, and then Joyce Klein, but she can, okay, but I should feel sorry for Bambi Thug. Okay, no. Anyway, among the signatures of the letter are UK. Wow, okay, 2023 UK contestant May Muller, who ended up almost last, so sure, she wants a moment too. Irish 1994 champion Charlie McMeganigan, and the Portuguese singer Fernando Tordo. Okay, basically people I never heard of. So, okay. By continuing to platform the representation of Israeli state, the EBU is normalizing and whitewashing its crimes. But how again, can someone tell me, how is Armenia and Azerbaijan still allowed to be in this competition? But because they have been in conflict for years. I mean, they have been in conflict for years, and how on earth was Russia to be able to be in the contest after they invaded Georgia? And that was till 2008. Please explain. And how was the UK allowed? Was the UK still to be allowed in this competition back in 2003 when they were a part of signing with the US in the Iraq War? Iraq War. I mean, it feels like when you talk about this, you'd be like, is this just a pure hatred from Israel? Because you can name a whole bunch of conflicts many part of European countries are a part of, but no one be like, ban them too. It is just Israel. I mean, do I hope the fact that this conflict between Israel and Gaza can still be solved? Yes, I hope that. But it feels like I watched an interview, I think someone did, with Israel people and the people of Gaza, you know, like I think it was like a week or so after the invasion happened, and people will be like, in Israel, be like, yeah, they're our neighbors, we want to be, you know, cool with them. And then you went over to the people of Gaza and be like, no, we don't, we hate them. So it feels like they hate each other. Anyway, the EBU has already demonstrated that it's incapable of taking measures, as in 2022 when it expelled Russia from the competition. We don't accept this double standard regarding Israel. But then again, it was Russia who withdrew their EBU membership first, because if you go back with the Google search, you can actually see that with Russia it was like in February 2022, I think just a few days after they invaded Ukraine, they withdraw their EBU membership, and then the EBU banned them from coming back to Eurovision in May. That is 3 months gap, so okay. We stand in solidarity with this year's contestants and condemn the EBU's repeated refusal to take responsibility. Okay, and y'all wondering why Israel never wants to do pre-parties? Girl. 2024 was plagued by controversy due to Israel's participation in the contest amid its ongoing attacks on Gaza. Some critics accuse EBU of hypocrisy for refusing to remove Israel from the competition, having previously ejected Russia in 2022 following Putin's invasion of Ukraine. You don't see the difference? Israel didn't start this. Because, I mean, that is a thing. Why on earth would a country small as Gotland attack one of the biggest military countries in the world? And people are wondering. I mean, I'm gonna say, I think that has been the problem, because if you read anything about Middle Eastern history, all countries surrounding Israel wants them wiped out of the country. They have to defend themselves. So it feels a little bit weird that they are doing this. This is not the same thing, because if this was the case, then Ukraine should be kicked out of the competition as well. Do you think they have been peaceful in this war against Russia? No. We have heard death. Russian people have been killed in this ongoing conflict for the last 3 years. So then again, if you're in this logic, then Ukraine should be disqualified as well, because they should not. I mean, okay. But then again, Russia was allowed to still be in this competition after they invaded Georgia back in 2008. But no one wants to talk about that. Let's see here. It can be one rule for Russia and a completely different rule from Israel. You bomb and you're out. Thea Garrett represented Malta in 2010, who signed the letter and said, oh yeah, the Temu version of Liza Minnelli with that cheap ass dress and that Temu scarecrow behind her and that cheesy ass ballad who didn't qualify to the finals. You are talking? Girl, have several seats. Israel was ultimately allowed to compete last year with its delegate Eden Golan, despite threatening to withdraw after she was asked to rewrite the lyrics of her song October Rain due to its perceived lyrical reference to the 7th October attacks. I mean, sure. This year, Israel will be represented by its October 7th survivor, Yuval Rafel, who will be singing the track New Day Will Rise at the event held in Basel in Switzerland. And I'm gonna say, the more people are doing this, I'm gonna say, if Israel wins this year, I'm gonna blame all the haters for this. Because I'm gonna say, if Israel wins this competition because she can, I don't think she will, but if she wins this, I'm gonna blame these people who are actually providing sympathy against her, because now you're talking that October 7th survivor, you're dissing her and wants Israel out. You don't see that you're gonna make people sympathy vote for her. She might actually win the televotes. So thank you. Anyway, we understand the concerned and deeply held views around the current conflicts in the Middle East. Martin Green, CBE, director of the Eurovision Song Contest, told The Independent. The EU is in association with a public service broadcaster who are eligible to participate in the Eurovision Song Contest every year. Additionally, as a part of its mission to secure sustainable future for public service media, the EU is supporting our Israeli member Khan against the threat from being privatized or shut down by the Israeli government. Yeah, that was the case too. I guess so many people will be cheering on, be like, yay, God. So I guess many people will be cheering on if that happened. We are not immune of global events, but together it is our role to ensure the contest remains at its heart a universal event that promotes connection, diversity, and inclusion through music. The EU remains aligned with our other international organizations that have similarly maintained their inclusive stance towards Israel participation in major competition at this time. The letter was published after broadcaster for the 3 participant countries questioning Israel's role in competition early this year. Yeah, more drama. Spain's broadcaster RTVE wrote to the EU Secretary General for a discussion about this issue, while Iceland's delegation and foreign minister called for the country participation. Strange. Yeah, and also Iceland last year was like, whoever won can actually decide if they want to go to Eurovision. So I was like, yeah, chaos, create more drama before you have even gone to Eurovision. That was the thing with last year. I was like, if you withdraw, if you saw Israel in the lineup for Eurovision, then if you withdraw from the lineup and be like, we are back next year, I will have no problem with that. But the fact that Iceland of any country will have the semifinals and the finals, and the winner have to decide if they want to go or not, that create whole new drama. I was like, I would have more respect for you if you actually would just withdraw when you saw Israel in the lineup. But no, you want to create more drama and hype for your song, but sorry you didn't qualify. And Slovenia's RTV Slow Network backed calls for Israel to be banned. In response, the EU said it appreciates there are concerns about the current conflict in the Middle East. Yeah, we all are talking, and remains in constant contact with those participating this year. If you go back to the whole Eurovision season within the last 70 years, there have been conflict everywhere. From 56 until now, there has been so many conflicts, and I don't recall anyone talking about disqualification of any country except Israel. Anyway, that's just me. Last year, over 56,000 people signed a petition calling for Israel to be banned, with Iceland's Association Composers and Lyricists, along with over 1,400 industry professionals across Europe, called for Golan to be suspended. Yeah, great job. 50 almost 60,000 people want her to be leaving the competition. That was a good sign for a 20-year-old. Well, in Golan, you don't have to work with any of these people. During the event itself, there was several direct and indirect reference of the war. The EU expressed regret that the Swedish candidate Erik Saade wore a keffiyeh on the stage, the Palestinian flag. Israeli delegate Ben Thok later hit out that EBU the EBU for scapegoating Ireland while refusing to address the urgent matter. Yeah, it feels a little bit odd that she, of all people, no offense, them day wearing a Palestinian flag throughout her tour, while I was like, if you ever step foot in Gaza, you will not be accepted. You know that, right? If you go to Israel, you will be celebrated in the Israeli pride, because they are like the only country in the whole Middle East that accepts gay people, who accept the LGBTQ plus A people. They are the only country. So it feels a little bit odd that a non-binary person that like Ben Thok did. I was like, okay, you do you, boo. The full letter is excluded below, and it's to be published alongside the full list. Oh, wait, do we have the whole list of the competition? Maybe we can find it. Okay, so here, exclude Israel from Eurovision, a call from former Eurovision participants. Okay. We, the undersigned former Eurovision participant, urge all members of the EBU to demand the exclusion of Khan, the Israeli public broadcaster from the Eurovision Song Contest. Khan is complicit in the Israeli genocide against Palestinians in Gaza and the decade-long regime of apartheid and military occupation against the entire Palestinian people. Okay, we believe it is unifying power of music, which is why we refuse to allow music to be used as a tool to whitewash and criminalize against humanity. Okay, and Ukraine won with 1944, which was like describing what happened in Crimea, but that was fine. Okay, I got it. Last year, we were appalled that the EBU allowed Israel to participate while it continued to genocide in Gaza, broadcast live for the world to see. The result was disastrous. I cannot speak. Rather than acknowledge the widespread criticism and reflecting on its own failures, the EBU responded by doubling down. I mean, they also have Joyce Clan disqualification to deal with, so it was a lot. Granting total impunity to the Israeli delegation while repressing other artists and delegation, making 2024 the most politicized and chaotic and unpleasant in the competition's history. Well, yeah, it was very... Silence is not an option. When authoritarian movement and the far right are on the rise around the globe, our duty is to speak out has only become more pressing. We therefore join together to state that the EBU complicity with Israel genocide must stop. Like I said also, do you think the Gaza conflict will stop if Israel is kicked out of the competition? No, it is not. Maybe those people should actually talk to Donald Trump in the US and tell him to tell Netanyahu to maybe withdraw the weapons. Maybe these people should talk to him, because how will this end the conflict? This is just nonsense to me. How will this end the conflict? It will not. The conflict would still go on if Israel is here or not. Sadly. So maybe these people can maybe send this letter to someone who actually can talk to, maybe can have an impact and stop this. By continuing the platform, the representation of Israel state, the EBU is normalized and whitewashing its crimes. Like I said also, it is a little bit weird that those people are not talking about Russia's invasion of Georgia back 2008, and that was not an issue. The EBU is already demonstrated that it's capable of taking measures, as in 2022 when it expelled Russia from the competition. We don't accept this double standard regarding Israel. We stand in solidarity with Israel contestant and condemn EBU's repeated refusal to take responsibility. Do we have the... As singers, songwriters, musicians, and others who have had the privilege to participate in Eurovision, we urge the EBU and all its member broadcasting to act now and prevent further discredit and disruption to the festival. Israel must be excluded from Eurovision. Okay, this was a long article to talk about. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about this, because it feels like yet again you're drawing sympathy towards Israel. And again, yeah, if you want to talk to, I'm gonna say, if you want to, I don't know how I feel about this. It feels like, yeah, we are in Eurovision drama season again, and yeah, do I think the conflict needs to end? Absolutely. Every conflict that happens has to stop. But doing this makes me look at those people that I know has been a part of this list, be like, you want a moment. You have a moment. I have not thought about the singer from 2010 from Malta in the last 10-15 years. And she's a part of this? Okay. I'm gonna say, where are the names? We need the names on these people. Do we have the list? No, apparently not. Anyway, we know. So, we have comments. Okay, let's read the comments, shall we? Let's take the newest one. Wait, we'll most like. Take that one too. Okay, read more comments. We take the newest one, so we take the newest one. Let's see what they are saying. The math they say are not committing genocide so far. It is. I was curious and sat down to try to work it out, and the numbers weren't close enough to fudge it with the current birth rate, and they are not. Read more. But that is not appalling thing to say. I'm not, and repeat, not condemning what's happening, nor I ignoring the long-term potential for depopulation of the area. I think it would be advisable when trying to precise the used term correct. The fact had all the best songs of the bias alone. They are not belong to Eurovision Song Contest, a contest to come to speak to the soul of in a way sobering in to watch. Really, I don't think anyone is going to be feeling pop too fanatical after that. Name the 70 former contestant. Yeah, the only boycott in South Africa made it come to sense. Israel needs to be boycotted at every sporting and political venue. Okay, know the realization that the Cold War was ending and the US war will no longer need to keep the South American communists and okay. I'm gonna say, if you I can link this down below, you can read the comments. I never understood why non-Eurovision state was a part of the Eurovision contest in the first place. Okay. Quite agree, we cannot allow. Okay. The UK was accomplished in the genocide should be banned too. They should not be allowed to be an apartheid genocide state. Eurovision is about music, not politics. Go cry. Palestinians started a war against Israel. Now they face the consequences on their territory action. Just cause they are losing doesn't mean you're the victims. In war dies next time. Don't start wars. Then the world supports Israel. Last Eurovision got the most 12 points from the world. Rest of the world voted for Israel, wants them in the competition. If it is about music, then the entirety of music's Eurovision Song Contest should be banned. Blah blah blah. I'm gonna say, I can link this down below if you want to read the comments, but I'm gonna say it feels a little bit like judges. I don't know how I feel about this. It feels so. I feel again bad for the singer Yuval Raphael, who's gonna be a part of Eurovision, because yet again I was like, yeah, she should just go there, sing, sit in a green room, go back to the hotel room, rehearse, sing, green room, leave. Because, yeah, don't stay in the pre-parties, girl. No. Anyway, this was the article that was published. I mean, I'm gonna be very curious to see how many of the other Eurovision reacting channels are gonna ignore Israel like they did last year again and try to. Anyway, thank you for watching. And if you have an opinion about this article, let me know. But anyway, ta-ta. Oh hi, you're still here. I hope you have not forgotten to subscribe. So subscribe here and look for the recommended video over here and end credit now. Bye.